Okay, in this recording I'm going to go over the details of your final project, and that is to draft an amicus brief. Amicus brief is a document that means friend of the court, that they're submitting on behalf usually of an interest group, a nonprofit organization, or sometimes a person, right? And so this is kind of an in-between document that's between everyday people and then lawyers, right? And so this is a good document for you because it's not as formal as what lawyers submit, but it's still got the same kind of connections to the legal system. So here are the elements, and I've provided a template in Blackboard as a Word document that includes everything that you need, and you're just going to basically fill in those parts. It's got a cover sheet, table of contents, table of authorities, interest of amicus curiae. We're getting rid of the consent of parties, and Supreme Court has recently waived this, so we don't need it anymore. Summary of the argument, statement of the facts, your argument in detail, the conclusion, and then 2 certificates of compliance and service, meaning that you submitted the document. I'll go over each of these in detail. So the cover page, we're going to have you add your employee ID at the top, give it a sense of formality. You're going to look up the court address. I've given you the court website here. You can enter the court address. You're going to put your name, and then you're going to choose whether you're in support or against, meaning you're either the respondent or the petitioner, and then you're going to add your full name and your email address. So in order to do that, right, you'll need to do some criminal justice research, and then you're going to be as clear about your problem as possible. I've listed 5 problems that a professional website in criminal justice listed as things that students might be interested in studying if they want to go into criminal justice as a career, and that includes human trafficking, drug crime, cybercrime, homeland security, mental illness, but there could be all sorts of other issues you're interested in as well, and so, whatever you think you want to study, just make sure that you're clear about it, and then try to explain why you think it's a problem. Make sure it's one problem and it's not 4 or 5 different problems. Identify who or what might be causing the problem, and then there might be more than one. And then think about some suggested solutions. This isn't going to solve the problem, it's not going to eliminate it, it's not going to solve it forever, but what are people saying out there? What do they think should be done? Then explain why you're interested in that problem, right? So I've given you some examples here of social problems, but you need to explain what it is that you're interested in. How does it connect back to you? Is it something that's personally happened to you, a member of your family or friend? Is it something that's got your attention over time? Explain why. Is it something that's going to be relevant to your future career? Explain why. And here's a website, right, where you can look and see how is this done in typical briefs. Then you're going to conduct some research, and anything that's relevant you're going to put into your other authorities section where you saw in the table of contents. I've given you resources here at both John Jay and Kingsborough, so you go to the John Jay website and look at what they call LibGuides, and you'll see that they're broken down by different sections. So if you're mostly focused on the courts, right, you might look at law. If you're looking at more social justice issues, you might look at justice studies. If you're interested in usually issues, let's say the evidence rules, or police brutality, or let's say the death penalty, right? Those would probably fall more in the criminal justice side. If you're looking at how corrections officers treat prisoners or prisoners' rights, then you want to look in the corrections tab. But you see they're all broken down by subject, so you can kind of get a practical guide. You could also ask a Kingsborough librarian, and so here is the library website, and you could talk to them and see if they can provide you with some resources. You want to think about what are the constitutional provisions. You'll need to find at least 1 and no more than 3. And usually if it's a criminal justice problem, we're talking about the 4th Amendment, 5th Amendment, 6th Amendment, 8th Amendment, or the 14th Amendment, to give you a heads up. But I've also provided a resource here, georgialegalaid.org, that will help you think about the relationship between constitutional rights and criminal justice. Then you want to think about what statutes are involved. It should probably be a federal issue. This is a class that mostly focuses on the federal courts. If you've tried to go to all these websites, the Georgetown Criminal Justice Guide or the Congress website, and you just can't find anything, and you've emailed me and we've tried to find something, then you can go ahead and focus on a state statute state law. But let's try to focus on the federal laws at first, because those are more likely to apply. And you'll do some research here to see what is going on, and you'll put that in the section regarding statutes, and you only need to find at least one, and no more than 3. I don't want you spending too much time on this. We're just again seeing can you do it? Are you finding something that's relevant to your criminal justice problem? And then really a bigger focus needs to be on what cases. So you're going to look at a minimum of 3, no more than 10. 3 is perfectly fine. That's enough. But some of you will find so many. But let's just tap it at 10. No more than that. I'm asking you to use Google Scholar to find cases. If you happen to know how to use LexisNexis and that's available to you through the Kingsborough Library, go ahead. But Google Scholar is available to everyone, no matter what your status. So you should also go to this University of Southern California LibGuide that I'm providing you that shows you how to use Google Scholar. It's pretty easy to use, but as you see here on the screen, right, you want to choose which courts you're looking at. We should probably be looking at the federal courts. You might select all at the beginning, but eventually you want to think about what court is New York in, what federal court circuit is New York in, and then target your research that way as you get closer to putting your brief together. The main thing here is that we want to find a case, and then you're going to state the facts from that case. So you have permission to copy and paste from that case. Now this should not be more than a page, and so don't copy everything. Usually in a case you'll have a section that says facts, and you want to just copy the relevant parts. What facts have to do with your argument? What are you going to be arguing for or against? It's going to be in those facts that you're going to be citing to, right? Again, this can go up to 3 cases. You don't have to do 3 cases in this case. You could just pick one. But you might have 2 or 3 cases that have similar facts, and so you can go ahead and copy from those and then just cite to them, right? And I've given you 2 options for citing here. You can do APA style, which is in the right-hand side here on the image, or you can go to this website at Georgetown that tells you about how to cite to Blue Book. It's really up to you which one you want. I just really want to see that you cited the cases and that you're showing me where did the facts come from, which case. Then you're going to focus on what your arguments are. I'm asking you to have 2 arguments and then have a counter argument. So in argument A, argument 1, you're going to state in 1 sentence and then you're going to explain your argument. In argument 2, you're going to say it in 1 sentence and you're going to explain your second argument. Then you're going to think, what are the possible arguments against my argument, right? What would other people say? You may need to talk to people and see, what do they think? Talk to your family and friends, coworkers, people on the street, right? What are their arguments? And then you need to argue against that argument. So you state their argument and then you argue it against it, try to connect it back to your first 2 arguments. This is the bulk of your paper. So this is what I'm really looking at. This is where the grading is going to come in. And this is a minimum of 3 pages, maximum of 5 pages. And then here are some tips that you should do as you're working on this section. And really specifically, they're saying, don't do this, right? So don't just repeat arguments that you read in your cases. Don't try to provide background information or additional facts. We already went through that. We don't need to cover that. This is just about your arguments. Make sure that you're giving actual citations to any of your arguments. So don't just say something, right? Try to form an argument based on your research from the cases, from the statutes, and from your academic research. Don't overstate, exaggerate, or overgeneralize, right? You're not going to solve all the world's problems through this brief. You're really only just addressing one very limited problem as it pertains and connects to a specific case. Try to limit your bias, and this is really how we get to the counter argument is, you're going to be biased because you're for or against, right? But you need to be respectful of the other side, that they have a valid argument as well, because the judge, who is me in this case, isn't just going to agree with you because you say something, right? You need to be able to show that this is the proper argument because this is what cases have said in the past, this is what the legislative statute is saying, and this is what the academic resources are supporting. In your conclusion, which can be the hardest because you're taking all these big ideas you've been working on and you're trying to reduce them now to a single paragraph or 2, what you want to do is make the best argument you can. Imagine you're in an elevator with the judge and you've got 90 seconds to say, here's argument 1, here's argument 2, and here's what I think you should do, right? That's really what you're looking at here in this case, and you just want to make sure that you're wrapping up your ideas, that you're just kind of telling us what the significance is and why we should rule in favor of your position. Then you're going to have a certificate of compliance, and here are the two rules that apply to that. You know, one of the rules I'm just pulling out that I want you to do is to do the word count, so tell how many words are in the memo. And then you're going to provide a signature, which you can just take a picture with your phone, right? Write it out, take a picture on your phone. If you know how to make it on your computer, go ahead and do that too. But if you don't know how to do that, take a picture of your signature, email it to yourself, and then just insert it as an image on this page and the certificate of service. And the service, what you're showing me is that you need to basically get the documents all ready, you're ready to do this, and then you're going to email me your memo, and right before you do that, you're going to fill this in, right? So you're going to say the date that you're sending the email, your name, whether you're responding to a petitioner, and then you're going to tell me what time you're sending that email, right? So, you know, right now it's 10:47 when I'm making this, so I'd say I'm going to send this email at 10:50 a.m., right? And so you put that in, and then it should match, right? When I get the email, it should be the same time. And again, you're just inserting your picture to say I certify that I did this, and then obviously you want to keep a copy for your own records, right? Keep a copy of your document and your email. For grading purposes, this is 25% of your final grade. You should see Blackboard for due dates, and email me at any time at jason.leggett@kbcc.cuny.edu with questions. If we need to talk, we can do that. If you're getting confused, we can go over it again. Whatever you need, right? Don't suffer in silence. Let me know. The main thing is I'm just seeing whether you're able to take the legal reasoning from the cases, apply it to your criminal justice problem, and argue effectively using legal reasoning, legal language, and that you're able to connect it back to the constitutional and statute provisions, right? So this is kind of the main thing that legal reasoning is about what this class is about. It's an in-between assignment, so you're not being asked to be a lawyer, but you're asking to apply some of the things you learned, and you've got a lot of time, right? So we're breaking it down into pieces so that you can get this done over time.